Well, DC and Warner Brothers, of course, as we all know, they have something to celebrate. Aquaman is, as expected, the number one movie in the country with, depending on which website you go to, it has 72 million in the United States alone, but worldwide, the story is, the picture's a lot rosier. They're nearing $500 million. I think they have, last time I read, they've amassed, as of this recording, 482 million or 483 worldwide. That's from Saturday, so I don't know. I'm recording this before the Sunday numbers are in. And of course, by Monday, a lot of people are speculating that it'll probably have reached. There's this one guy, Gitesh Pandya, who tweets a lot of box office figures, who says that it should smash 500 million on Monday. So on or before Christmas, Aquaman's going to already have reached $500 million, which is great. That's the awesome news. I know a lot of people are hoping that it reaches $1 billion. I'd like that. I don't think it will. I think it'll get somewhere between 800 and 900 million, that range, before it leaves theaters, which is still great. I mean, Aquaman's going to make money. It's a success. I don't think anybody has anything to be upset about. I know I've seen online, some people are saying that a $72 million opening weekend from Friday to Sunday is kind of soft, but it's actually not, because Christmas weekends are traditionally a lot softer, usually, unless it's like a Star Wars movie. And so I think Warner Brothers took that calculated risk to know that Aquaman would have like a lowish opening weekend this weekend, because, it's all about the Thursday through Christmas. So through Tuesday, really. And they're saying the projections are from Thursday or the preview screenings to Tuesday, Christmas Day. It's supposed to be 120 or something, which should be awesome. So that's why a soft opening on Christmas is not a sort of soft opening on Christmas is not that bad, because you have that Monday and Tuesday afterwards until Christmas Day. And, of course, no other major releases are coming out between now and until January 18th, when I think Glass comes out. And Aquaman is expected to have very long legs. So it should leg it out, in my opinion, to 800 or 900 million worldwide. So, I don't think you should be crying any tears for Aquaman box office wise because of a low 72 million opening weekend in the US, because that's not really low, given what I've just explained. And, I think Warner Brothers is to be commended. I know Warner Brothers gets a lot of criticism. It's cool always to criticize movie studios and big companies, but Warner Brothers in particular gets a lot of criticisms with how they've handled DC Universe movies. But I think that they have handled Aquaman's release schedule and marketing brilliantly. And it dawned on me now that there are two reasons why they released Aquaman earlier, like in China and other countries before the US. The first, most obvious reason is they want to get ahead of Mary Poppins Returns and Bumblebee opening the same weekend. And remember, it was also, I think, Battle Angel Alita and Deadpool 2, Once Upon a Deadpool, I think, were also all jockeying for that same weekend. And, Warner Brothers saw that all these people were smelling blood in the water and trying to, basically, gang up on Aquaman, and said, you know what? We're just going to open it 2 weeks earlier in bigger markets like China. Well, in another big market like China, and in other countries following. And, as we got closer to December, other movies backed off. Alita moved, Once Upon a Deadpool moved, and Bumblebee and Mary Poppins Returns stayed, but they've been slayed, so to speak, because Aquaman is the number one movie of the weekend as expected. I remember when I actually thought Mary Poppins was a threat to Aquaman, and now those days seem silly. And I'm especially satisfied because, although I enjoyed Mary Poppins Returns, I say this is good. This is what Disney gets, because I think the only reason Disney especially moved Mary Poppins to open the same weekend as Aquaman is to, try to bust Warner Brothers in the kneecaps. Originally, Mary Poppins Returns was supposed to open on Christmas Day, which in my opinion, I think December 25th, or the weekend afterwards, which in my opinion is a better opening weekend for Mary Poppins Returns. But I think they moved it up, because they wanted to punk DC and Aquaman, and they didn't. They are the ones, I think, who are looking. Well, I think their box office would have been better if they had opened when they originally were supposed to be set to open on December 25th. It's a perfect Christmas movie. And, Disney and Marvel, they like to come after DC a lot. They opened, I think, Punisher that same weekend as Justice League. The Punisher, first season on Netflix, the same weekend Justice League came out. And, that's how they like to do things. So I think this is fitting, that, Aquaman, in spite of that bullying, got a decisive win. Now, another reason is, and I think this didn't become apparent to me until I saw on Rotten Tomatoes, I think Warner Brothers also wanted to get ahead of the lowering Rotten Tomatoes score that mostly is coming from American critics. Because, when Aquaman, the review embargo first lifted on December 11th, Aquaman was in the high 70s. But then as, days went by, more American critics, got to see it closer to its American release. That lowered to the low 60s. And I think Warner Brothers could see that was coming because DC is the underdog when it comes to the critics. And that's another reason why they released it earlier, to get ahead of both competing movies and critics, many of whom I feel have an anti-DC bias. No, I don't think all the critics have an anti-DC bias. I don't think everybody who disliked Aquaman has a problem with DC, but I think many of them do. Because I feel that if a movie with the same plot points as Aquaman and the same quality of visual effects as Aquaman came out and was like a Marvel movie, you would be seeing it get a lot more favorable reviews. Because even a lot of the reviews that were positive, they were nitpicking over pointless things. The movie has too much water. It's like it takes place underwater. And, just other things like that, just silly things, and it's like you're someone just out looking for reasons to hate this movie. So, the bad news is that in spite of Aquaman's success, you could look at it in a bad way. I mean, the bias is still there to hate DC movies, but you could say maybe the bias is slowly eroding away because as of now, it is still fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, right? Aquaman is the second DCEU movie to, not have, rotten splatter next to it. So maybe the tide is slowly turning, if you forgive the pun. I mean, it's not just Wonder Woman, it's also Aquaman now. So you could see the 60 percent as a positive thing, right? It's not like it's the 50s or the 40s. So, it depends on how you look at it. Another positive thing is, I think Warner Brothers is starting to get wise to the game and they're starting to release their movies accordingly, as I've just explained. They knew this was coming. And I think they handled it brilliantly. And I hope now with Shazam, they maybe should do the same thing. Release Shazam earlier, in China and other countries to get ahead of, American critics. Because it's mostly, I think, American critics who, have their knives shopping for DC movies. And, maybe if Marvel or Disney decides they want to open something that same weekend as Shazam to try to, bust Shazam in the kneecaps. Punisher second season opens in January. Maybe they'll be like, well, let's open Jessica Jones season 3, when Shazam opens. Take that, So in case they try to pull some crap like that, Warner Brothers can be like, all right, let's do that earlier release in other countries. And I say go for it. But, regardless of, any people trying to take the wind out of DC sales, Aquaman's doing very well, and it's going to continue to do well leading into January, and DC has, pulled another victory. And I think this is a good thing, and I can't wait to see how much more money this movie makes before it leaves theaters. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.